The dimensional rift tore open above downtown Chicago at exactly 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, which was unfortunate timing for the demons because most humans were stuck in traffic and already in terrible moods. General Malphas emerged first, his 12-foot frame wreathed in sulphurous smoke, wings spread wide as he surveyed what he expected to be cowering mortals. Instead, he found himself staring at a businessman in a Honda Civic who had rolled down his window and was shouting, "Are you kidding me? I'm already 20 minutes late because of construction on the Dan Ryan, and now this?" The Demon Lord's triumphant roar was interrupted by a woman in scrubs, clearly just off a double shift, who marched up to him with the kind of exhausted fury only healthcare workers possess. "Listen here, nightmare fuel," she said, pointing a finger that had been sanitized approximately 400 times that day. "I haven't slept in 36 hours, I've been dealing with insurance companies all morning, and my student loans are the actual definition of eternal torment. You want to bring hell to earth? Get in line." Behind Malphas, lesser demons began pouring through the rift, expecting to find virgin sacrifices and terrified populations. Instead, they encountered Jake Martinez, a customer service representative who had just finished dealing with his 15th Karen of the day. Jake took one look at the snarling imp approaching him and actually smiled. "Oh, you think you're scary?" Jake laughed, pulling out his phone. "Wait until you meet my manager. She once made a grown man cry for using the wrong font in an email. And that's on a good day." The imp hesitated, confused by this response. In the deepest pits of the underworld, they had prepared for screaming, running, maybe some religious chanting. They had not prepared for humans who seemed genuinely excited about the apocalypse. Within minutes, social media exploded. But instead of panic, the posts were oddly enthusiastic. "Finally! Something worse than my commute. Hashtag demon invasion, hashtag still better than Mondays. These demons clearly haven't worked retail during Black Friday. Amateurs. Hashtag hell on earth, hashtag been there done that. Anyone else notice the demons are more polite than most customers? They at least say please before threatening eternal damnation." By hour 2, humans had begun organizing. Not in the way demons expected, no desperate military responses or religious ceremonies. Instead, they formed what could only be described as spite-based resistance groups. The Karen Coalition deployed their most devastating weapon, middle-aged women who had been through menopause and no longer cared about social niceties. They cornered a group of hellhounds in a Whole Foods parking lot and lectured them about proper leash etiquette until the creatures whimpered and fled. The Retail Workers Union, led by teenagers who had survived Black Friday shifts, simply treated the demons like difficult customers. "I'm sorry, sir, but our store policy clearly states no shirt, no shoes, no service." "Yes, I understand you're a creature of pure evil, but I'm still going to need you to put on pants." The Construction Workers Alliance, men and women who had been yelled at by everyone from homeowners to city inspectors, just shrugged and got back to work. "Demons, eh? Well, they're quieter than the jackhammers and they don't complain about us starting at 6 a.m. Plus, the Hellfire is actually pretty convenient for welding." By day 3, something unprecedented happened in the history of interdimensional warfare. The demons filed a formal complaint. General Malphas found himself sitting across from Margaret Thompson, a divorce attorney who had been practicing for 30 years and had seen every form of human nastiness imaginable. She didn't even look up from her paperwork when he materialized in her office. "Let me guess," she said, adjusting her reading glasses, "you want to conquer humanity, establish a reign of terror, the usual. What's your timeline?" What?" Malphas stuttered, his prepared speech about eternal suffering completely derailed. "Look, demon or not, everyone's got paperwork. You want to enslave humanity? Fine. But you're going to need permits. Environmental impact studies. Insurance. And don't even get me started on the tax implications of interdimensional commerce." The Demon Lord stared at the stack of forms she slid across the desk. This is more torturous than anything we've devised in the underworld." Margaret smiled, the same smile she used when calculating alimony payments. "Honey, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait until you meet the IRS." By the end of the week, the demon invasion had devolved into something resembling a very dysfunctional customer service experience. Demons found themselves manning complaint booths, trying to explain to increasingly irate humans why the apocalypse was running behind schedule. "You promised rivers of blood," complained Linda, a suburban mom who had reorganized her entire carpool schedule around the end times. "I see some red puddles at best. This is worse than when Disney Plus went down during the season finale." The final straw came when a group of demons encountered the ultimate human weapon: teachers who had been dealing with budget cuts, standardized testing, and parents who blamed them for everything their children did wrong. Mrs. Henderson, a kindergarten teacher with 25 years of experience, looked at the snarling demon threatening her classroom and sighed. "Sweetie, you're going to need to lower your voice. We use our inside voices in the classroom. And if you can't follow the rules, you'll need to sit in the thinking corner." The demon, whose roar could shatter glass and whose presence could drive mortals insane, found himself sitting cross-legged in a tiny plastic chair, holding a stuffed animal and genuinely contemplating his life choices. 3 weeks after the invasion began, General Malphas stood before the dimensional rift, his forces demoralized and defeated. Not by weapons or magic, but by humans who had responded to literal hell with, finally, something worse than my day job. As he prepared to retreat, the businessman from the Honda Civic approached him one last time. "Hey, before you go," the man said, "are you guys hiring? Because I've got a resume, and honestly, eternal damnation sounds like better benefits than my current gig." Malphas closed the rift and never spoke of Earth again.